Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. And hello to any brothers and sisters who are not Sikhs. Okay, I was just sitting there, relaxing, and I didn't realise I was going to come on now. Anyway, okay, in terms of it was a radio drama that we did, 1984 in a sense. So it was a fictional piece based upon facts and actual events in 1984. So when we put it together, what we actually tried to do with Sikh PA, we actually tried to initially get radio production companies to actually take up the production or sell it to Radio 4, because that's one process of how to produce these things. We already had a plan of how we were going to produce it anyway. So we tried that, but unfortunately that didn't work because we were doing it the wrong way around, whereas the BBC commissioned projects and you go with a commission plan first and then you produce the actual programme, whereas we already had the product produced, we already had the actors in place and the drama was already getting produced. So the production companies who actually had commission process with the BBC were interested because they couldn't then have editorial on the actual piece. So it got a bit complicated, to be fair. Like just we said, for all of us and as a community as well, this was quite innovative but also very different, because even in the marketing of Innocence 1984, a lot of people who agreed to come to the initial screening in London, Jasveed came and was crying. Yeah, but majority of people who will listen to this will cry. But as a Sikh community, we're not used to listening to radio drama. So a lot of people are quite negative about the production because they didn't want to listen to it. Because our whole society now and social media is based upon looking at a screen and seeing things. And we purposely did not go to producing a visual of it. So we've done a documentary about 1984 called Genocide 1984, which was a typography or an animated video. We've also done a Mother Sabkor video which is animated. But with this, we chose to stick to making it as a audio and not converting it to a visual, because it loses the impact of the voices, because we would have ruined the actual story with the visual. But where the Sikh community then didn't buy into it as well. So to this day, the product's there and it's Radio 4 standard. And we've scared some people in the Sikh community actually making films or productions about 1984 because they know now that we've raised the bar so high. And that isn't down to me, that's down to a little girl over there with the yellow, Junni, because we got her in as a professional actor at an acting school and we got her co-actors at the school to actually do the role. So we didn't get Baji from down the road or Benji from down the road. Yeah, we actually got professional actors and we paid them to do it as well. So that's part of the production. So in terms of the actual production, this is where the Sikh community failed. So Sikh PA and us, we give them the information, they write the press release, they speak to the different organisations in radio, and the Sikh community actually failed in supporting it. So Punjab Radio didn't play it, Suksagar didn't play it, so we actually had no Sikh media playing it. We didn't go to the channels, we got relationships with all the channels because the channels would have turned around and said, well, it's not visual, so why are we going to play it? So we didn't take it to the channels on purpose. I can force the channels to play it tomorrow, that's not a problem with the Jaldiya, but it's not as a visual piece, so we can't do that. But the Sikh radios didn't take it up, so we had one in Canada who were tentatively agreeing, then they didn't play it. And then in the end, we had Desi Radio from Southall, an obscure organisation, I think, yeah. It works and it does what it says on the tin, so they played it. And then we had a non-Sikh radio from Slough. Asian Star FM, yeah. So they were the other ones who played it. And so other sort of media picked it up rather than Sikh media. Desi Radio did it, but then on Desi Radio, the actual interviewer, she tried to actually be critical of Sikhs in India and things like that as well. So there was a bit of politics in there, but still they had the gumption to play it as well. So in terms of radio, the Asian network and things like that, when we worked together as well in 1984, or other issues, Rupinder was the one who got me on to argue with Mark Tully, and General Bra should have been on that programme. So that's where Sikh PA actually started as well. That was the beginnings of Sikh PA. So from there on, we almost every week or every other week, when there's some crisis in the calm, we will pick up the phone and ring me and say, what do we do now? And we have to think of political angles. We have to think of how do we defend this now? So if someone's caught in their garage, just going to Bakara, yeah? That was the latest, yeah, he's nothing standing there. But the simple fact of the matter is, how do we defend it? Yeah? So it's as a collective, we can agree or disagree, yeah? It was done in East London, they can say it was done internationally. We know it was done in London, you can tell from the building. But the point is, yeah, how do we defend that as a community? And how are we going to put our stance out there. So other media, we all know what goes on radio stations and things like that. And the problem we have as an organisation, as Sikh PA or as Akaal, the majority of us will refuse to go on any media now. Yeah? And the problem is when we stop actually participating, what happens is they'll get the idiots, and I'll use that word, they'll get the idiots that they can manipulate, get them onto a radio show, which is running live, by the way, yeah, and then get other people, and what they do is they'll screen your call before your phone anyway, ask your view, and then they'll pigeonhole you, and then when you go on the air, they already know that we're going to get someone else to say something against that person. And don't attack the presenter on those shows as well. The presenter's got editors in his ears, whoever it may be. But at the same time, we then have no longer got that voice on that radio show. So we're always firefighting when any of these issues occur. And 1984, that drama that we did, the whole thing and the beauty of it was, we changed it to a view of the Darbar Sahib attack to say innocent people were murdered there. We didn't talk about something else, and people can't turn to me and say, well, you didn't talk about the defence, because we've written books about it. So no one could say that to us because we've already done that part of the story. But we don't talk about it. 5,000 people who were massacred there, who weren't fighting back, who weren't picking up their guns. And as a community, we've lost that narrative. The Jews actually had armed groups fighting the Nazis. They had actually female Karku Jathabandiyan as well. We don't talk about that. We don't see that because they've cleverly put that history to the side. And they've made themselves out to be a victim community. Now, I'm not saying that the Jews didn't have a genocide, they did have a genocide, but at the same time, sometimes we have to play the victim card. It's not nice, but politically you have to do these things sometimes to get your progression in that sphere. So we've done these things, and 1984 Innocence, we used the hashtag, and we did that thing. I'm going to say one thing politically now at the end, because I was just sitting here thinking this. This year we had 350 years of Sri Guru Gobind Singh. We've not got one collective hashtag. We're in March now, the Gurpurab was in January. We spoke, me and Jaspreet, and we did some work and we tried to do something, but we couldn't collectively come up with a collective hashtag that people would use, so I just went and did my own. Yeah. But the thing is, as a community, we're into March now, one of the biggest festivals you're ever going to have in your lives. And as a community, what have we done? And what are we doing now? You've got this guy, this artist today, I think, he's released a new image of Guru Gobind Singh, but we're still not collectively working as organisations to even address that as Guru Gobind Singh for this 1 year that we should be looking at.